Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we're going to go through the sharpening stones that I've been putting together for a long time. I've been spending about almost 2 years on trying to put together and develop the best sharpening stone set that you can buy. Now, these are specifically for fixed angle sharpening systems that hold 1x6" stones, which are the majority of fixed angle sharpening systems. So if you have TS Profs or any of the ones that hold a 1x6, this will work. And then even some of the other ones, you can buy universal stone holders to fit them for these stones. So I have stone holders that I'm also going to be selling on the site. So this set that I'm going to be talking about and some of the other stuff I'm going to be talking about is mostly going to be at the NEEVESKNIVES site. So we do have the containers. These are 20 bucks a piece, made in the USA. All the bonded stones are made in Ukraine. But if I do not have them on the site, you can go and get them from USA Market. It won't be any more or any less money. So if I don't have them on my site, you can go over there. And then I have some other stuff I recommend that are on some other sites we'll talk about. But if it is on my site, I do appreciate if you purchase them through the NEEVESKNIVES site because it does benefit the channel. We are going to be continuing to add more and more stuff to the site. Like we have our aluminum trays that are going on there. These are machined in the USA, solid aluminum with cork padding, magnetic bit holders, and we have 2 spots with stems for drivers and then 3 spots for KPL or your Loctite. It comes with a couple 3D printed little holders so you can hold your screws or whatever. If you want to set something to the side, you know, we're going to have the stone storage that's also made in the USA on the site. And then we're going to continue to get more and more stuff on there. We want to get only stuff that I highly recommend because I don't want this to be, you know, like a cash grab type of thing. I want it to be stuff that I truly stand by and stuff that I recommend and or stuff that I'm having created. So before we get into my ultimate set right here that we're going to talk about, because that's basically what this whole video is about, I do want to give you guys a couple recommendations of some stuff if you're on a more affordable budget. Because, you know, I don't want to leave anybody out here, at least as much as possible. So if you are at a point where you want to get the best diamond results without spending a lot of money basically for your budget, and if your budget is not bonded stones, because these can be expensive, for $30 a piece, I know it still sounds like a lot, but for $30 a piece, you can get the Hapstone Starts. Now they're just regular diamond plates, but in my opinion, they're the absolute best diamond plates. And we are specifically talking about the 1x6" size. This is a strap, but 1x6" size. That is the size of stone we are talking about right now. So just know we're talking about fixed angled 1x6", which is the majority of fixed angled sharpening systems. Now, the diamond plates, you can get an 80 grit, 3 to 600 grit, and then a 1,000 to 1,200 grit. Get those 3 diamond plates, you will have amazing edges right there. All you need from there is a strap. But if you want to spend a little bit more, and that would be about 90 bucks. If you want to spend a little bit more, so what you'll want to get on top of those 3 diamond plates, you'll want to get the Expert Pro resin metal bonded stone. So these are basically a resin and metal mixture together. It's not technically a hybrid. This is going to have a bit more copper in it. So it's a resin bonded stone with a higher concentration of copper. You can see it. These are really good. Very, very good stones. Now, but they do have, you know, I'll talk about why I consider them a little bit lower than the ones we're going to talk about here in a minute. But these are going to get you amazing results. And all you got to do is add the 1100 or 20/14, the 3000 7/5 micron, or the 3/2 micron 5000 grit. These are all Expert Pros and they are diamond. So by getting the diamond ones, they are a little bit more affordable than the CBNs, and they're going to basically be the exact same. Now, that's what I would recommend if you're trying to save money, but you want the finished result of a bonded stone. That's what I would do. Now, if you want to upgrade from there one more level, you could just get the entire pack, right? This is all Expert Pros. And like I said, this is a metal resin bond. It starts from 160 grit. Then it goes to the 285. Then it goes to 550, and then 1100, 3000, and 5000. So you have the entire set. This will get you Basically, the best results up to 5,000 grit, and over 5,000 grit, you can go with stropping paste or stropping compounds, or you could get another stone if you wanted to. You could go a little bit higher, but I think going up to 5,000 grit with diamond plates or with bonded stones is about as good as it gets, right? It doesn't get any better on top of that. Let me just say that. Even if you go up to 10,000 grit, it doesn't get better. So you can strop, you know, at 1 micron. So this is what I would recommend if you're wanting a full set and save the most amount of money. These are $52 a piece. I should have said that right off the bat. So if you're only going to get the 3 and then the diamond plates, you're going to spend $30 a piece for the diamond plates, $52 a piece for these bonded stones. And like I said, we're going to be the same exact price as USA Market. If we are out of them, you can go get them over there. Now, if you get the entire set is going to cost you, I thought I had it written down, it'd be like a little over 300 bucks. So a little over 300 bucks, you'll get, well, plus the case, which is 20 bucks. If you want to get the case, you can part it out. You don't have to get the case, but if you want to get the case, it'd be like 328 bucks or something. Whatever, something like that. 332, I think is what it is, $332. If you want the most elite set, it's going to be $510. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's with the stone holder. But what you're going to get is your first stone is going to be what I think is the best bonded starting stone, which is the premium silver CBN. The silver CBN is $106 for just this stone. It is an expensive stone, but here's the reason why this one's great. This has incredible cutting power. It's a 160 grit, just like all the other starting stones, but this one's definitely more aggressive out of all of them. The absolute most aggressive. This one cuts the fastest, has the best diamond concentration. I put it under the microscope. You can see the consistency. It's amazing. Now, another thing I really like about it, and I believe they recommend that you use soapy water, right? And soapy water, just dish soap, spray it put a squirt in a bottle, put some water on top of it and shake it up. When you hear the bubbles stop splashing around like you just did with this one, then the recipe's right. You'll hear it stop because the bubbles will expand. That's when you know the recipe's right. You're going to want to use the soapy water on pretty much all of these bonded stones. You don't have to use those on diamond plates, but on bonded stones you do. Now, when you're talking about this premium silver, it does not, from my experience, it doesn't require it. You can just dust these off. Now, after you've sharpened maybe 4, 5, 6 knives, maybe you might want to rinse them off with some soapy water, but you could also just dust them off. And then by then you're probably going to condition anyways, because usually you're going to condition about every 7 or 8 sharpenings. But just depends on you and what you're sharpening and everything else. You know, it could be only 2 sharpenings, just depends. But highest concentration of diamonds, largest, just the fastest cutting, and it is a very slow wearing. Very slow wearing, and again, you don't have to make a mess. And typically your first stone is going to be the stone you're going to last the longest on. This will be the stone you'll spend probably 80% of your sharpening on, and then the last 5 stones will be the last 20%. That's usually how it is. So you want to get all your sharpening done with this, and then the other grits are just to refine the edge. So that's why that's important for that one to be fast cutting, because it's going to be the majority of the time. Have an itch. All right, next is the premium vitrified. So in my opinion, the absolute best mid-range, so medium grit stones, I call them medium grit, it's still pretty coarse, is the 285 vitrified and the 550 vitrified. So the vitrified is basically, it's very similar to the silver. I'm not 100% because, you know, I don't get to know everything that's in the recipe, but I think that they are basically the silver with a little bit of ceramic bond in them. I think that's what it is, not 100%, and obviously diamond. But in order to keep the price down on these, we kept these ones diamond, because when you get to these grits between diamond and CBN, it really doesn't matter. You're really not gonna be able to tell the difference, but I will say that CBNs technically cut a little bit faster and technically have a little bit better wear resistance. So the first stone is the one place where you'd care about that. All the rest, we're not really caring about that. So we got the vitrified diamond, not vitrified CBN, which saves us some money. So these ones are expensive too, at $84 a piece. So we got $106 for the silver, and then $84 a piece for these two, and you'll have to get 2 of them. I want to quickly show you guys what these vitrified stones can do, because a lot of people like a toothy edge. So this is S35VM, and I sharpened it with the 285 and the 550 grit. So this is a 550 grit edge, but these vitrified stones just have a great ability of leaving an ultra fine toothy edge. So, and I think the reason why is because it is so good at removing the burr that it leaves a clean apex, but with a massive amount of bite, making these things incredibly sharp when you finish on the vitrified stones. So if you like a toothy finish, this is good. You can see here, it's just melting the hairs. I'm barely touching them, and it's just blazing through them. And this knife has the grind lines in the grind that are really deep. So when I'm sharpening it, especially at a low angle, you have to grind through all those grooves. You can see them there at the top of the bevel. You know, they're almost like teeth themselves. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys a quick close-up of the vitrified stone's edge. And then the last three stones will be the hybrids, and these ones have the Neve Knife Co logo on them. These ones, like I said, we've been working on these for a while, man. I freaking love them. I think that these are some of the best stones. Now, you could just get a whole set of these. I'm not going to have those on the site right now, but I will in the future. But I will say, getting this set like this is going to be the best, because the hybrids are never going to cut as fast. Even though they cut fast, they do cut fast. I'll be honest, they are fast cutting. They're never going to cut as fast as the silver, right? So, and you do have to use soapy water with these. Now, they are more affordable. So, you know, it depends on your budget, because some people are going to say, man, I would rather save, you know, $100 and, you know, and maybe have to replace something later, or, you know, save $100 and maybe it'll be a little bit slower, or maybe a little bit messier or whatever, right? But let's check out the results from this exact set right here. Okay, so I have the USA Market sharpening. Well, it's at USA Market, it's the UKSG. Now we are going to sharpen this knife from Roman in Nitro X7 steel, and we are going to sharpen it to a nice low angle, because I want to show you what this thing, what this premium stone set can do. Because now we're to the most elite set. We're going to bring it down to 15 degrees per side right there. So 15 degrees per side. Let's lock that puppy in. Love this sharpening system. This is a really, really good system. I find that it's extremely well built. All the parts are fit together. Everything works really well. Now, like I said, I'm not going to make you guys sit through this whole thing. So you guys are about to start skipping through. Wow, I'll say this, man. I'm telling you, these silvers, they cut fast. Super fast, and they stay cutting fast, especially if you keep them conditioned. My goodness, does this thing, just put it this way, this is the first edge this thing is getting. I have not sharpened it whatsoever, so it has the factory edge still on it, which was a high edge angle. And look, man, this thing is just chewing through the steel. That's why we went with the 160 silvers. This is the exact reason why, for the most elite set. Now, the expert pros are still very aggressive. Don't get me wrong. Those things will cut fast. And if you wind up going with the most affordable set, your set will actually cut the fastest of all these sets, at least for a little while. Because the problem with regular diamond plates, and the reason why they're more affordable, is because they wear out. So over time, they get finer and finer. So what will be the fastest cutting stone out of all of these, the Hapstone 80 Start, will wind up becoming like a 300 grit over a period of time. We almost have a burr, not quite yet, but these silvers, they cut the fastest of any bonded stone I've tried, period. Period. I don't even know if there's a comparison, to be honest. And then, like I was talking about before with the vitrified, same thing with the vitrifieds, man. They also cut. Okay, so we have a burr most of the way. I have a little tiny drop at the heel and a little tiny drop at the tip, and that has to do with the grind difference, because production knife. Well, I guess that happens with customs too, but I just mean it's from the factory. The way these things cut. And you see this though? I just dust it off. You don't even see anything. Like, it's literally, there's nothing. So I don't know why they would even recommend soapy water. Maybe over time, like over like 10 sharpenings, it'll clog up a little bit. But in that case, I'm gonna wind up using the conditioning stone by that time. That was it. That was a full reprofile with the silver. Not sure if I skipped you guys ahead at all. If I did, it probably wasn't much because I was talking way more than I thought I was gonna. But now we're to the Vitrified. Now, we are gonna use just a little tiny splash. That's it, just a little splash. Get it wet. What was I about to say? I was about to say something. Now I remember. And because these Vitrifieds do cut fast, you don't have to spend a lot of time. Once you have your edge reprofiled and your bevels cut in and your scratch penner's nice and clean, then, you know, each other stone after that is going to go fast. But just don't skip to your second stone until you have your entire bevel established. Now this side is a little bit smaller than the opposite side, so I'm just going to spend a little bit of time over here. And it's because when lowering back an angle really, really far, you want to do half the first side and then half on the other side and then finish the other side. So you kind of want to go back and forth a little bit with the first stone just to make sure the bevel lays out evenly. And I laid the entire bevel on that side, so I didn't realize how fast it was cutting, I guess. But now we're going to make it even just by sharpening this side a little bit longer. And that's how you even up a bevel. If you have a bevel that's one side is smaller than the other, see how this one's clogging up? This is what I mean. This is what it looks like, and the reason why you need a little soapy water right there. But yeah, if you have one side of your edge bevel is a little bit smaller than the other side, then work on the smaller side a little bit longer. That will remove steel from both sides. So you'll be able to lower the angle on one side and shorten the angle, make it more even on the other side. Yeah, now we're even. Our bevel is even. Okay, now we are going to go to our 550 Vitrified. Maybe I will do a video with the Expert Pros by itself, maybe in a live or another video or something. Right now, I'm mostly trying to promote the most premium set I have here. Again, you can part it out, but I don't want to make this video so damn long that nobody watches it. So I am going to have to not do a sharpening with each set of stones. By the way, if you're new to the channel, or if you don't know, I have an entire sharpening playlist for people. So anybody, if you're ever looking for anything, any tips, any tricks, anything, I have an entire sharpening playlist. You know what? In fact, I'll link it at the top of the description. If I remember, I should remember. But the playlist, man, it has hundreds of, man, oh my goodness. I got to grab you guys. You guys got to see this. Look at this burr. That is the burr right there. Oh. This shows you how well this heat treated. Supposedly they were gonna do Roman. By the way, just so you guys know, Roman does some of the best heat treatments on the planet. He is amazing. And this Nitro X7 steel, a souped up Nitro V, he has them doing his heat treat protocol. Look at that. It's literally just, oh, that was soap. It's flaking off. Watch this side. Watch this. Look at that. It's popping off. Look at that. With my fingers. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. See, that stuff's exciting to me right there, because that shows you, because you don't always get to teach. Look at that, just popping it up. You don't always get to teach people what it's like to have a nice hard HRC steel, but also a great heat treatment. You know, and remember the other day when I was, if you guys were watching, I don't know, I did a video talking about how soft a steel felt. Or if you ever hear me talking about, man, this burr just won't come off, it's because there's something wrong. This is how it should be. Now, what I was saying earlier was that my entire sharpening playlist, I have hundreds of videos where you can find anything. Okay, now we are going to one of our hybrids, and look at that, we got the NEEVESKNIVES logo on that bitch. Look at that, yeah. The 1100 or 20/14 micron. Get a nice little wet spot on these. These ones are, in my opinion, have a little bit more resin to them. So the Expert Pros are supposed to be a resin bonded diamond stone. That's basically what they are, right? But I can tell they have a higher concentration of copper, but they do extremely well. Like, they are like really, really good, especially for the money. Man, you can't go wrong with them. But when you're talking about getting the best, I think that these hybrids, they have a mixture. It's a mixture between metal and this is why they're a hybrid, metal and resin. And I just think the ratio between metal and resin is perfect in these. So they wind up creating a surface that, in my opinion, allows for the crispiest and sharpest edges. When you have an apex that's very low, like it's super sharp, you have those microscopic teeth, right? The microscopic serrations at the apex. Well, some stones, and what I found from like metal bonds, they don't do very well with that. So I don't know if it breaks them off or chips the teeth off or what, but something to do with a really nice resin bond or like these hybrids, especially the hybrids, it allows the apex to like stretch out farther with the bite without ruining the teeth or breaking them off. Sometimes I'll get up to a fine grit on the exact same knife that I've already sharpened, so I know the edge, how it can take an edge, and it just won't take the bite I want. Like, it's just like I'll wind up redoing it thinking I did something wrong, and every time it's because of the stones, because I'm using just metal bond or whatever. Okay, so this one, if you look, you can see there's a little bit more copper in it. That's not a big deal. So if you get some that are miscolored like that, that's not a big deal. I've even zoomed in. Yes, there's more copper particles right here, but it's not gonna make a difference. I tested ones that were very like that, and there were no difference between the ones that did and didn't have them. They all still have a copper in them, so that layer just happens to have a little tiny bit more, but it's, like I said, it's not a big deal. I'm not sure in the metal bond what does lead to the poorer edges in the finer grits. I'm guessing it's not the copper. I'm guessing it's the zinc or the aluminum or something, but I'm not sure. I think nickel might be in them too. So it could be the nickel. So one more time, just for good luck. So once you get to 3000 grit, you already are at a mirror. So the 1100 grit is not a mirror edge. It's a super fine edge. Man, these stones are so hard. I'm telling you, these hybrids are the best. I love these hybrids, man. I'm going to 5000 grit. Use the same side, but yeah, 3000 grit gets you a mirror polish. 1100 grit, 1200 grit, even up to 1500 grit is like an ultra fine edge. Once you get to 2000, that's cloudy finish, and then once you get to 3000, that is a mirror, and then from there forward, you just get more and more mirror. Like I was saying earlier, I am going to be testing some compounds out that you put on an aluminum blank. So you take an aluminum blank and you basically put this paste on it, and then you can, basically polish your edge or, hone it or whatever. I think you can even go full-blown sharpening, but I'm going to find out when I get them. But my goal is to use them for steels, only certain steels that take the most extreme mirror polished edges, because I don't like to polish all my edges. I only like polished edges on the steels that take incredible polished edges. And seeing how the burr's coming off on this steel if this steel's anything like Nitro V whatsoever, which it is because it's a derivative from it, this is going to be insane. So now we would strap. Technically, we don't need to strap. So you know what? I'm not even going to strap. I'm not even going to strap. We're going without the strap because we do have strappy stuff on the site. So I guess I could strap. Maybe we'll strap after. We'll see. But I want to show you guys just from the stones. You know what? Just in case, because we're not going to strap, I'm going to strap with my stone. Because once you get to 5,000 grit, you could use the stone for strapping, basically. It's so fine that you're not removing material. You're not really creating. I mean, you can create little micro serrations, but it's not like big enough that it's leaving big gouges or anything in your edge. Okay. This sharpening system is awesome. You guys see how fast that went? The stones is definitely a big part of that, but I'm telling you, the system is a massive part in the timing and how long it takes, how frustrated you get. Like me being able to talk to you guys and film while doing this is incredible. All right, where is my little driver? And sorry if it seems like I'm going fast. It's because I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. Okay. Watch how sharp this damn edge is. This thing is oh so crisp. Just doing that, I'm barely touching it, and my skin particles are just, look at that. Skin particles are just flying off because of how toothy it is. While it's a mirror polished edge, and it is so toothy. I love that when you can get a mirror polished edge like that. Like I said, more steels I like not with a polished edge, but there is a good amount that, man, oh man, do they just take screamers. Whew. Oh, there's a little price list if you want to see it really quick before I cut it. I know it looks bad because I wrote it fast. That was almost silent. You guys hear how quiet that is? That was straight down. That's like some of the hardest cuts to do, the straight down ones. Next to the circles. Man, let's just, oh yeah, just the tip just sparking off little threads. So far, I'll say this, Roman, I am impressed. Holy cow, this stuff is sharp, man. I am very, very, very impressed. There is a little spot at the tip that I did not get. This will go more into the review on the knife, but that's just from the grind. I didn't get the heel perfectly or the tip perfectly, and that's just because I'll just get it out of the next sharpening. I have no problem doing that. I didn't want to remove just a crazy amount of steel just to get that. It's not going to change anything in the performance of the cutting or my testing, so I'm going to have to sharpen it again anyways, you know, after testing, so no big deal. Now, you know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to just touch it lightly on the strap. Just a little light touch. The Midas touch. When you guys strap, make sure you do it gently. I have a video I'm doing soon where I'm going to answer your guys' questions. I'm literally going to do like... I'm going to take questions you guys have asked in the comments. I'm going to make a whole video answering a whole bunch of them. Yeah, it did get even stickier. Holy cow. That half micron strappy stuff. Get it. It's the best. It is so damn good. It's even quieter, I think. Maybe it's just me. All right, we busted out the paper towels. You got to see how it cuts the paper towels. This is the ultimate test, ultimate sharpness test in my opinion. And it is like butter. Look at those waves. I'm going to go right through this sheet to the next. Oh, I didn't, I skipped it. A wave all the way through. Oh, that was my fault. All right, we're gonna do one quick swipe all the way down, all the way through. Oh, we did it. It's just I caught it right at the end. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. That was my fault because of the belly. This knife has a good amount of belly, so you can pull out of the cut. I did hang up a little bit there at the end. That's sharp as shit, man. This is a little handheld microscope from Andostar. I will link it down in the description if you want to get yourself one. This is also a little handheld microscope. Both of them work really good. This one's much more affordable, but this one's a little bit better, but this one's also a lot easier to use. If you look at this microscopic view from a hybrid stone to 5000 grit, look at the apex of this mirror edge. It has these little micro teeth, which are the micro serrations, and that's what you want from your stone. You want to have a lot of bite. So these stones not only make an incredibly sharp edge, but they leave an amazing amount of bite, even with polished edges. Conditioning, really quick conditioning. All you need is a NAGURA stone. It does not matter what grit, because the diamonds don't change. When you're talking about a bonded diamond stone, right? Doesn't matter what grit it is, whatever grit you want to say. When I take a conditioning stone, say this is 5000 grit and this is 60 grit, and I scrub the top of this, it doesn't all of a sudden turn this into 60 grit. Because this is 60 grit, but this, the diamonds in it are a certain size. They're not gonna grow, they're not gonna get smaller. All you're doing with the conditioning stone is knocking down the bond. The bond is at the surface, right? Originally, the diamonds are gonna be exposed, right? But as you use the stones, the diamonds are gonna wear down, right? And the bond is gonna rise above the diamonds. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna come with the conditioning stone, you're gonna knock this down, and the diamonds are gonna come back out, and they're gonna continue to cut. I like to get, like this one I think is a 240 or something. Get a NAGURA stone, and then every 5 or 6 sharpenings, you know, just depends on how thick the edges are, the steels you're doing, whatever. But every few sharpenings, just give it a good scrub with some soapy water. Make sure you have some soapy water, give it a good scrub, and then that's it. Bam. And you can probably do that in about 20, 30 seconds if you do it often. If you don't do it often, then yeah, you're going to be on the stone for a little bit. But it's very easy to do. Everybody should get one. These things are only like 11 bucks. So I'll link them down in the description. Sometimes they're a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but they're not expensive. Now you can do this. This is conditioning the stone. So here's a conditioning stone. I'm gonna get it wet. You can do this like at your workbench, like where you're sharpening, you know, just for like a really quick conditioning. But if you're really, really wanting to get it perfect, like to a brand new surface, you might wanna get it wet, whether it's with just water or soapy water. It'll help keep the conditioning stone clean while you're doing it. And all we're doing is knocking down the bond that's holding the diamonds, and we are making the surface brand new again, where the diamonds are on the surface so they can cut fast, and making sure it stays nice and flat. Now these don't dish very fast, but you know, just about any stone can dish with enough sharpening. But if you do this every once in a while, like every, you know, 7, 8 sharpenings, you'll keep them nice and flat and nice and new, nice and fresh. You'll keep them cutting really fast and so on. It only takes a few seconds of stone, and that's it right there, bam. And I would do that to the entire set. So here is an edge finished on the Expert Pros, up to 5000 grit, and you can see how the micro serrations are a bit deeper and a bit larger than the hybrids for finishing stones. Now here's a microscopic view. You can see the grit pattern is much more present, and then here is a good look at it. And you see it is very reflective, very shiny, but it definitely has a bit more scratch pattern to it than the hybrids do, you know, at 5000 grit. So, you know, you could say the scratches have, you know, a little bit more contamination. So this top one is the hybrids. This next one is the Expert Pros. And then this bottom one is again the hybrids. You can see they just have a little bit more reflection to them, you know, at the 5000 grit, but I do think that this is a more accurate 5K grit. but this is still, both of these are incredibly sharp. So, you know, it's difficult to say what you would prefer in this result, but I would say if you want this result, you just, you know, don't stop at 5K here. You stop at like 3K. I will be adding more stones to the site as time goes on. I want to get a complete set of all hybrids and, you know, a bunch of other sets and strops for our stropping compound and whatnot. So we're going to be continuing to add more and more sharpening stuff. I want to make sure that I'm only adding stuff that I highly recommend, stuff that I recommend for whoever's budget, right? Because I want to make sure everybody's included. And this is the stuff that I would buy at that budget. And, you know, we're also going to be adding stuff that we are having created as well. So I do appreciate you guys supporting the channel and supporting Neve Knife Co. It means a lot to us. And yeah, man, I couldn't do this without you guys. I love you guys. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time. Peace.